Let's dive right in. Today, we're exploring a powerful wake-up call from our source material about something every single one of us possesses, but if we're being honest, we rarely appreciate. And that's the irreplaceable value of time. We all say time is precious, right? But do we actually live like we believe it? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down a pretty incredible parable that might just completely shift how you view the hours in your day. Seriously, I want you to really ask yourself, if you truly understood the value of time, would you still waste hours just mindlessly scrolling through your phone? Would you keep postponing those really important tasks, quietly telling yourself, you know what, I'll just start tomorrow? It is so incredibly easy to do, but those tiny, almost invisible delays, they quietly shape a completely directionless life. Let's look at how this builds into an uncomfortable truth that we all kind of need to face. So, this brilliantly illustrates the core of our problem. Think about it like this. You can lose money, right? And eventually, you can make it again. You can lose a job, and sure, it's tough, but you can find another one. But lost time, a single moment, once it's gone, it is literally gone forever. It cannot be earned back. And the real tragic part here is that most of us don't actually realize this until it's way, way too late. To really grasp this concept, our source provides this fascinating story about a father, his son, and a very specific everyday object. Section 1. The Watch and the Market. Okay, so our story begins in a small town with a really hardworking father. His son, though, total opposite, waking up late, wandering the lanes, basically just letting life pass him by. The father tried giving him advice, of course, but he soon realized a painful truth. Advice only enters the ears, but wisdom has to enter the heart. So, fearing his son didn't understand what he was actually throwing away, the dad didn't give him another boring lecture. Instead, he goes to this old wooden cupboard and hands his son an old, faithfully ticking watch wrapped in a soft cloth. And he gives the boy a super simple mission. Take this to the market, ask people what price they'd give you for it, listen carefully, and come back. The boy thought, hey, easy enough. So he heads right into the noisy, dusty market. First stop, he shows the watch to a cloth merchant. The merchant turns it over, gives it a good look, and offers exactly 500 rupees, not a single rupee more. Walking a little further down the lane, the boy hands the watch to a grocery seller. This guy takes a quick look, decides it's decent enough, and offers 800 rupees. The boy just keeps walking, gathering these simple, completely transactional data points. Finally, near the end of the market, a man sitting behind a pile of steel utensils just sort of glances at the watch and says he'd give 1,000 rupees for it, give or take. So by the afternoon, the boy heads back home. He tells his dad the varying prices, 500, 800, 1,000, and he completely expected his dad to explain what it all meant, or maybe give some long lecture on commerce. But nothing. His father just listened in total silence. Section 2. An unanswerable question. Now, the very next day, the father hands the boy the exact same watch. But this time, the mission changes entirely. He tells his son, go to the market and ask people not the price of the watch, but the price of the time inside it. It's a massive contrast. Yesterday was all about the price of an object. Easy, numerical, transactional. Today, he's asking for the price of the time itself. Naturally, the boy was incredibly confused. What kind of question is that, he thought, but his dad calmly insisted he go. Well, the boy's experience this time around was drastically different. When he asked the first merchant for the price of the time inside the watch, the man literally burst out laughing, calling it complete nonsense. A woman waves him away, telling him to stop wasting people's time with silly questions. Another man flat out told him you just cannot put a price on time. Everywhere he went, laughter, confusion, dismissal. For the first time in his life, walking through that exact same market, the boy felt the deep, burning sting of shame. Section 3. The Watchmaker's Wisdom. Just as he was feeling utterly foolish and getting ready to just give up and go home, the boy stumbled onto a turning point. Tucked way into the corner of the market was this tiny, quiet little watch repair shop. He steps inside and asks the old, silver-haired watchmaker his humiliating question just one last time. But the old man stopped his work, and he didn't laugh. He looked at the boy with this deep understanding and delivered a profound realization. He said, the watch can have a price. One person might say 500, another might say 1,000, but the time inside it, that has no price. You see, you can buy a watch, but you cannot buy the time which it shows. Let's actually break down exactly what that watchmaker meant, because it's so important. He explained to the boy that if a wealthy person loses their money, they can earn it back. If a farmer loses a crop, they can plant a new one. If a shot literally burns down to the ground, it can be entirely rebuilt. But, and this is the absolute kicker, if even 1 hour of your life passes, can anyone with all the wealth in the entire world buy it back? The boy realized the heavy truth. Not even 1 single second. The watchmaker pointed out that time is the ultimate equalizer. I mean, it has one really bad quality, right? It never stops and it waits for absolutely no one. But it has one amazing quality: 24. Every single person, rich or poor, young or old, receives exactly the same 24 hours each and every day. No more, no less. So here is the absolute crucial point. The difference between someone who succeeds and someone who fails is rarely just about natural talent or luck. It's almost purely about how they choose to spend those identical 24 hours. One person uses that time to steadily, purposefully build the future, while another person simply throws it away.
Section 4, the power of realization.
These words, they fell into the boy's heart like rain on bone-dry soil. No scolding or lecturing from his dad had ever reached him this deeply. He looked at the old man and whispered, "I understand now." And the watchmaker just handed the watch back and replied, "Then do not just understand, change." And you know what? He actually did. He didn't just talk a big game. He rushed home with a fire in his eyes. He started waking up earlier. He actually started helping out at home. He learned to work with care, spending way less time roaming the streets, and more time doing something genuinely useful. He found out firsthand that disciplined hours brought him peace, and honest effort gave him a real sense of pride. Section 5. Respecting your 24 hours. Think about how many people live exactly like that boy used to, saying, "Oh, I'll start tomorrow," or "Come on, I'm still young, there's plenty of time." The real danger of lost time is that it doesn't shout, it just quietly disappears. Those tiny delays compound into habits, and those habits shape a weak and totally directionless life. And honestly, this highlights the absolute genius of the father in our story. Why didn't he just tell his son all this up front? Because real change happens through our own realization. The dad knew he couldn't force wisdom into his son's head through warnings. He had to let the boy face the laughter, feel the sting and confusion of the market, and arrive at the answer completely on his own. So what's the big takeaway for you and me right now? The source material lays out some incredibly clear, actionable steps. First off, stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Start small, but start today. Wake up just a little bit earlier. Spend just 1 less hour on distractions or doom scrolling. Pick up that book, start that project, or finally have that conversation you've been avoiding. Because every single hour you intentionally invest in yourself today is quite literally building the exact person you're going to become tomorrow. Remember, you can replace almost everything in life. Money, jobs, your possessions, but you can never, ever replace a single moment that has already passed. Respect your time. It is the absolute most valuable thing you will ever own. So I want to leave you with this final question to really chew on. What is one thing you have been putting off that you will start today? Make a promise to yourself to begin, because your time is your life. Spend it wisely.